Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, welcome to the Josh Guillory Show, a Friday edition, man. I can't wait. Oh, my goodness. I am your grateful host, and in studio with me, my Q. Well, I was about to say my main man over there. I've missed my main man over there. Q Money Magic. What's happening, Q?
Oh, a beautiful day full of clouds waiting on this cold.
You ain't kidding. Just a public service announcement. Bring your pets in. Don't forget your furry babies. Now, I don't want to say it too late, too loud, because I didn't say fur babies. No. But even then, if you identify, get out of my school. I'm kidding. Big boy MX, we turned it up. All right, guys, we're broadcasting live on rumble.com. I want to see you over there. Get that chat started. Like my friend over there, Big Boy MX, he wins the chat race today. Broadcasting live also from the KPEL studios here in Lafayette. Shout out to our KLFY Plus viewing audience. Guys, we got such a great show on the line today. Oh, my goodness. I hope we can finish all these topics, especially that last one we briefed. Oh, my goodness. I might have to go out of order. Anywho, let's go to Iowa. Now, you may have heard of Iowa, and it's not Iowa. They're wrong up there. It's Iowa. It's Iowa, the state of Iowa. That might sound familiar because I have a friend in Iowa, and her name is Joni Ernst, and she's a senator. Anyway, that's the lady that found $2.1 trillion apparently or supposedly and doesn't drop a bill to cut the $2.1 trillion that she said she found. Come on now. Giving us Republicans a bad name. So the former superintendent of Des Moines, Iowa, different guy. Superintendent of Des Moines Public School, well, he pled guilty to federal crimes this week. So it's not just Louisiana. Come on now. This time falsely claiming U.S. citizenship. It's a former superintendent, by the way. Being an illegal alien in possession of firearms, that's the second one. 4 guns, one of them loaded in his car, which the little story we're relying on, it didn't mention anything about gun-free zone, but I've been thinking about this gun-free zone thing a lot lately. I won't go on a tangent, but if you call in on it on the bottom half, I'm not going to be mad at you. I'm just saying, because I got it in the tank. I'm telling you, I've been reading on it. I've been praying on it, thinking on it. Because, with the mic comes responsibilities. So the gentleman we're referring to, his name is Ian Andre Roberts. He was running the largest school district in Iowa. And this is a clear system failure. And the consequences landed in a school district. And if it can happen in Des Moines, it can happen in Vermilion. And it can happen in Caddo. And it can happen in Harris County, and it might be happening in Harris County. He signed an A9 claiming U.S. citizenship. Superintendent. He obtained a state administrator's license. He was under a final order of removal. He still got hired. He still ran schools, and he still carried guns. So that probably tells us everything we need to know about how unserious enforcement has become in elite institutions. And it also can maybe give us grounds to pose another question, and that is, are these school districts too big anyway? And is that what makes this kind of stuff happen and facilitate it? Does it create a culture where this is easier to do instead of harder to do? Some of the school districts in Louisiana flirt with independent school districts. You see these charter schools pop out, and I'm not against I think, I served with some school board members. I know those guys, the ones I served with, the ones I was around always wanted to do the right thing. It's not the people, it's just the system. Maybe that needs to be smaller. And, don't take me, the layperson, on this. I'm not educated on being an educator. But I do know that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And if you look at some of these states that are performing significantly higher than we are, a lot of their districts are smaller. As I appreciate, a lot of them are independent school districts. very, very local level. But I digress. This kind of big county level, parish level, and to this degree, Des Moines, it probably festers. This kind of stuff probably festers in that environment. Well, over there in the Des Moines area, ICE had to step in, and they had to step in after every other institution failed to do basic verification. And I want that to sit in. School districts don't check, or at least they didn't. Licensing boards, what were they doing? They didn't verify? And the state agencies, they all assumed compliance, and we're giving them the benefit of the doubt. No reason to think they would know. All the reason to think they would not know because of how the system's built. Too big and too centralized. And the entire system runs on trust instead of verification. That's true in Louisiana, to Iowa, to all our 50 states. It is all run on trust until it doesn't. You see what I'm saying? And here's the key point. None of this happened, this didn't happen despite lax immigration enforcement. It happened because of lax immigration enforcement or absence thereof. Think about this. Just let it set in. When the posture is, don't ask, don't look, don't question, I think we can all see how fraud would maybe thrive in that environment. When enforcement is treated as rude or political, lying becomes safe. Look at this guy. What about citizenship? When citizenship is treated as paperwork instead of status, people game the system. And that's what happened here in Iowa. Come on now. He passed through hiring systems that never bothered to check. So basically, it's not even a guy that slipped through the cracks. I wouldn't even call it that. This is a guy that ran through an open door. And notice what didn't happen next. Think about this may be worth reporting in and of itself. Notice what didn't happen next. No statewide review of hiring practices. No emergency audit. How about that? No emergency audit of school administrators or pausing any kind of licensing standards or addressing the situation. But we also didn't see immediate drumbeat demanding accountability from the institutions that failed. I wonder if this was a different issue. If it would have been, maybe not so quiet. Just a tad, huh, Q?
I think so. I think if it happened in almost anywhere else, there would have to be reviews and audits.
Do you think that he appreciated the egg labeling bill that Joni Ernst dropped?
I think he would have if he would have been arrested after she filed it, but he's not going to benefit from the enhanced labeling of eggs like the rest of us will.
That is well said, Q Money. All right, guys, we're going to take a tiny little break. We'll finish this whole topic when we get back. Stick around. I can't wait. Are we good? What's up, YouTube? What's up, Rumble? Hey, man, I just got a great message on Rumble. My buddy Dirty Rice, y'all know, y'all hear me talk about him all the time. Yeah, man. Hey, I love that, brother. Still in my prayers. Everybody pray for my friend Dirty Rice. It's a good dude, man. Big boy, give us some more love, baby. All our chats, all of our Rumble crew. I know it's Friday, the whole day. What do y'all think about this? I was telling Quentin in the break or just now. I was like, I thought this topic would land more. And well, we don't know because the phone lines are not open, but I don't know. I just don't feel the energy on that one. I was like, this was our third topic, and I felt so energetic about it that I moved it to our first topic.
I mean, like the amount of checks that failed makes me question: are they even real, or is it just a rubber stamp?
Man, you know that answer. Go for it. I'm gonna get some
Yeah. So in Des Moines, it's crazy to think this guy was arrested with a loaded gun in his car, right? Like he had an actual firearm. It had bullets. It was in his car. He's an illegal immigrant, and he's going to a school. Now, I'm as pro Second Amendment as you can possibly get. Have been pretty much since I turned 18. With that being said, we have a person who's not legally allowed to be in the country. How did they purchase a firearm? This person's had years in the country illegally. If I remember correctly, dating back, he came in the 90s and has sat here this entire time. Became well known in academic circles, became a superintendent. Everything failed that should have succeeded in vetting this guy. Now, as to whether, I don't know his soul, I don't know his conscience, but I do know that we need to know who's in charge of teaching our kids. And in this case, we didn't. And in this case, the person was criminally present and committing a felony probably every day with a gun in his car. Just doesn't make sense to me.
So what do y'all think? Put me back on the thank you, sir. What do y'all think? Stay on this? Yeah, we'll wrap it up. We kind of have to.
Yeah. I think so.
I mean, I got a few little things. But then we'll go into yeah, we're going to go into the yeah, boy. We're going to go into the US Senate race. It got interesting again. All right, stick around. We got a minute left. No? All right. Okay. We'll be right back. About a minute. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show, broadcasting live from the KPEL studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. I want to see you over there at that chat on Rumble, rumble.com. Look up the Josh Guillory Show. All right, guys, we're going to wrap this little topic up because the next topic you're going to want to stay tuned for. We're going to talk about the U.S. Senate race. Had some little movement going on, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts on that. But let's keep talking about our friend over there in Iowa, and I'm not talking about Senator Joni Ernst, who could very well be a hero on her way out. And just drop a bill. Cut that $2.1 trillion that you supposedly found. Y'all, at this point, do y'all think she really found it?
Nope.
See, here's the thing. I think she did. And I think the powers that be said, "Be quiet, girl."
I could see that.
What's more believable after all the things we've gone through in the last 5 years? What's more believable? 5.5 years ago, I would have disagreed with me. But over the last 5 years, y'all know, I don't know if I'm right, but I know that the likelihood of me being right is just as good as what Quentin said.
And then they probably offered her the study on finding ways as a way to placate.
Yes.
That explains why she's not running again.
Absolutely. Jeez, man, you can't even make this up. So we have a former superintendent who was the superintendent and illegal status at the time. And what we got was a plea of guilty, and he pled for this. He pled to this, so I'm not making it up. But it was very quiet. But for us talking about it, really, would you have known about it? Think about this. Everybody's busy. That's why we take our responsibility very seriously, and we do our research before the show. But just a quiet little guilty plea is what we saw, and a promise to deport him later. And this is why a lot of Americans right now, across the political spectrum, Democrat, Republican, whatever, it's why most of us are saying enforcement really does mean something. It matters. It is a thing. Speaking of mattering, is that a word? Mattering? Yeah.
I think so.
I don't know. Rules only, I'll tell you the truth, rules only matter when someone enforces them. My military people, an obstacle is only an obstacle when there is observation on it. That is it. But rules only matter when the folks that are supposed to enforce the rules enforce the rules. If you want public trust, you enforce the law in the books. If you want safe institutions, you verify the credentials of the people that you are putting in front of our future generations. If you want credibility, you stop pretending this stuff doesn't happen. We all see it. And the more and more of these shows, the more and more awareness we, the people, will have, and that's great. And I welcome everybody that can do it. You know, but borders matter, citizenship matters, verification matters. All these things matters. All these things matter to so many countries in the world. Why do right now in 2026, why is it only Republicans pushing that? Now give it 20 years, we may be flipping on that because it seems to be something we do. I'm just saying, go back to Elian Gonzalez. Y'all remember, is it Elian or I forget? Elian, yeah, and Gonzalez. You know, the little kid. That was before your time.
Wait, I think I remember this. Was that back in 2000?
Yes, it was.
Was that when? Didn't they go into a house with guns?
They sure did.
And wasn't it a little kid the gun was pointed at?
That is correct. And do you know the administration was a Democrat administration? Did you ever hear of these guys? They're kind of in the news lately.
I think I've heard of them. Didn't one of them go to Epstein's Island?
You'll have to ask him. Whoa, Congress is trying to ask him, and he won't answer.
Hey, he said he can't show up for a deposition, but they're free to visit in New York with no reporters, no
one-on-one.
No record.
I feel your pain. Man, we are kind of seeing the boundaries of congressional power here. I've always been curious on the whole congressional subpoena.
Yeah, I always thought you couldn't ignore those.
I'm telling you guys, it's just we're in different times, and I look at this I'm not looking at that cynically at all. I really am genuinely, from a legal standpoint, saying we're going to find out probably the some more boundaries, and that's what's okay. Just to be nerd a little bit, if you look back at our 250-year history, that is what has happened. It's a beautiful thing our founders set us up with the Supreme Court being methodical and slow, the lower courts being created by Congress and also deliberate and slow, supposed to be the cooler heads, things like that. Now we're seeing more and more instances of rogueness in that department, but hopefully that's during the purging and it'll get out. because common sense eventually has to prevail. But we've seen these questions. I mean, look, when George Washington was the president, this whole concept was so new. There's reports that he thought that the Supreme Court was like his advisory council. Like, what is this Constitution thing? What is this legal thing? What is it? Like, think about it. And they had to say, no, case or controversy. And that was a development. You have to have a case or controversy. It's constitutional, but it's starting in the beginnings of the interpretation of what the foundations of our country are. And over the course of 250 years, we've seen these questions that we don't know the answer to get answered, and this might be one. What does congressional... Because I'm just saying, do they have the authority to do that? They will say they do. They will say they do, and they will say they have statutory authority. And they can say that it makes sense. Well, if there's no teeth, then why have it? So there's a lot of arguments why it should exist, but I don't know of a case. I don't know of a case, and I haven't researched it. Maybe you guys know. I don't know of a case where that has been challenged. I don't. And if it has, well, great. We'll have some precedent. If it has not, then we're going to learn. And that's okay too. That's okay too. It's designed to be this way. You know, it's not designed, our country's never been designed for a federal government to be so involved in our lives. So you're balancing that too. And I don't have enough time to go into that. But I tell you what we will do. I'm gonna tell you what we're about to talk about before the break, okay? So the Louisiana U.S. Senate seat has I don't want to say, because I was about to say it's getting weird, but that wouldn't be right. So I'm not going to say it's getting weird, y'all. I wouldn't say that. But there might be some things that are kind of telling. So if you have not heard, State Representative, my friend, Julie Emerson, she announced just the other day that she was running for U.S. Senate. She announces today that she is not running for U.S. Senate and that she has endorsed Julia Letlow. At least that's the report I saw. So when we get back, we're going to talk about that. Phone lines are open, 232-1542, 844-766-6607. I want to hear from you. Talk about that topic or whatever you want to. It's Friday, baby. You good? Sure? All right. Okay. Hey, what's up there, Rumble? What's happening, my peeps? Yes. All right. So we are talking about the U.S. Senate race here in Louisiana. Man, what the heck is going on? I have a theory. I'm going to say it on air. No, I'm sorry. I'm reporting what other people may be speculating. That's interesting. So Julie Emerson, man, my buddy. I love Julie. I really like all the people in the race. And I don't dislike Julia Letlow. I like Julia Letlow. I just, again, I'll ask this on air too. Well, I guess we're on air now too, but anyway, I'll ask it like, really, again, y'all know what I've been asking all week. Why her and why now? That's a fair question. It is January, man. It's about to be February. The primary's May. You got all these cats that have been campaigning their tails off, all conservative, already splitting the vote, all the things. It was already a telltale sign that it's going to be Cassidy and one of the batch in a runoff. And I just, and you come in with Trump's endorsement before you've even announced. That's like, it's kind of, how disheartening. Man, let me tell y'all something. I don't know if Julia Letlow went out there and campaigned hard for Trump like before it was cool. I don't know that, okay? I don't know that. But the conservatives in the race for U.S. Senate from the state, I know personally, and I know they were pushing for Trump and this reform before it was cool. I don't know if Julia Letlow was doing that, so I'm not accusing her of not. I'm just saying I know these people. Okay? And it is a very valid question for us conservatives. Why her? Why her? And why right now? And just be straight with us. We want an insider that we can control that's going to be a safe Republican vote. And that's not a knock on Julia Letlow. Hey, let me flip that analysis. Julia Letlow will be an absolutely safe Republican vote. And that will, for the most part, be a net win. And you don't have to worry about her. You don't have to worry about Julia Letlow doing silly things like, impeaching things when you don't need to impeach people. You know what I'm talking about. Q, walk us in the next 45 seconds.
Well, I think the biggest indicator of why this occurred is going to be January 31st when the next series of campaign finance reports come out. When you think about it, there's only really two reasons someone leaves a race. Either polling says there's no viable path forward, or the bank says your account's at zero. And that's the only two reasons I could really envision someone leaving a Senate race so early on. Now, with the Congresswoman making her announcement, obviously that changes the field and that changes perspectives. Having the President of the United States, who's incredibly popular in the state of Louisiana, provide an endorsement to that candidate's even bigger. Morale-wise, I can almost promise you every campaign in the field had a very bad day that day. No one went home happy.
Nope. And some pretty... Oh, look at this local said be great. What's that all about? That's interesting. To our... Yeah. I don't know. Don't mess it up. All right. Get us back on break. We got about 25 seconds. All right, guys. 25 seconds till we go back live. TikTok, man. What's happening? Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show, broadcasting live from the KPEL studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. We're also broadcasting live on rumble.com. Let me see you over there. If you haven't joined Rumble yet, go over there. Rumble is for free. Look up the Josh Guillory Show. You can see us live. You can see old podcasts, and shout out to our KLFY Plus viewing audience. Man, let me tell y'all about my friends over there at C-Safe. You know all about them. When strength matters, when custom matters, when failure's not an option. My friends at C-Safe, they deliver. C-Safe FRP products, they're engineered to resist corrosion, reduce maintenance, and outlast the competition in the harshest environments, from offshore platforms to wastewater treatment plants and everywhere in between. C-Safe, their products are American-made and manufactured right here in Acadiana by American workers. Yeah. Check them out. C-Safe, csafe.com, SEA, just like the ocean. Now, talking about oceans, tidal waves coming in this election. Some turbulent waters, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe smooth waters. Maybe it's smooth for someone. I don't know. Let's talk about it. So, as we mentioned, Louisiana politics, we don't usually move quietly, but this one kind of did, if you think about it. I mean, if you think about it, and I think that's why people are talking. What I'm referring to is State Representative Julie Emerson, my dear friend, who I think highly of, dropped out of the Senate primary this week. I think it was today, wasn't it, bud? Today or yesterday?
Yesterday.
Oh, yesterday. Okay, I'm a day late. Well, she dropped out yesterday after Congresswoman Julia Letlow entered the race with President Trump's endorsement. Emerson basically said, hey, the path that once existed no longer does, and threw her support behind Letlow, which I thought the first part, hey, yeah, Emerson said the path that once existed no longer does. That's candor. That's all right, cool. We'll talk about the second part, and threw her support behind Letlow. All right, let's go to the phone lines. They are blowing up. Let me hear you. Where are we going? Norm from Poche Bridge. What's up, Norm?
Josh, the ever-curious Norman is thinking about that Senate race. First of all, most of this stuff's above my pay grade.
That's
But
fair.
first of all, Julie Emerson. Let me tell you what. I had an opportunity to sit at a table with her, one of Senator Kennedy's operatives, and a couple other people. I introduced myself by my first name. They said their first name. She had an opportunity to tell me, I'm running for Senate. Will you help me? And I might have. That went. Next thing you know, the president endorses somebody. Now, I'm not that smart. But if I was dealing with a very, very thin margin in the House of Representatives, why would I want somebody to leave there?
Ooh.
That's my main question.
Norm, hey, and here's the deal, Norm. Some people may say, well, that's not a fear because, that's a safe Republican district. Don't you assume. This is Louisiana, and we just gave away a seat. Don't you assume. Norm, I wasn't thinking about that second one. Oh, now you got me nervous, Norm. Doggone, I'm already worried about my plants. Jeez. All right. Let's keep it on the phone lines. Who we going to? Renee, bring the heat, baby.
Yeah, the hell with switching seats. We might have the same party, but a messed up candidate, a rhino or something.
That's true too.
This is bad.
That's worse.
Hey,
you're right.
One more thing, just like some government jobs, drug screening, background check. That would cut down a lot of messed up politicians right there.
Boy, you ain't kidding. Thanks, Renee. I appreciate it. Remember when Congressman Higgins called for a drug test on Congress? And you would have swore people's head blew up, like it exploded. You're like, I didn't see a problem with it.
That sounds dope.
Sound like common sense to me. Anywho, who else we going to? Let's see here. Caller, you are live on the Josh Guillory Show. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, it's Angel. I'm calling from Lafayette.
Yes.
One thing that I'm not hearing a lot of people talk about is that Fleming is, 74 years old? The U.S. Senate has, a 6-year term? That's going to be, if he were to get it, he'd be 80 years old? I don't know. I mean, that's just something to think about.
Yeah.
He's been in politics a while. Let's try someone fresh, enthusiasm, maybe Blake Miguez. Maybe someone who's held a job outside of the public sector for a while, someone that needs payroll, someone who pays taxes. He has it in. I think maybe he's a little bit more relatable than someone who's, in the latter years of their life, perhaps.
Well, that's one way to take it. Thanks, Angel. I appreciate you for calling in. I hope you call in again soon. Hey, well, I will say this about Secretary Fleming. Now, he knows about payroll. He's run businesses. He's a medical doctor, but he had some Subway franchises, my understanding, maybe some other endeavors too. But hey, Angel, look, you ain't the first person to tell me that or say that, and it is something that if that's important to folks, that is a fact. If he's 74, 6-year term, 80 years old, but the flip side, he's come in. He's been. I will say this. Any of them are better than Cassidy.
Agreed.
Julia Letlow, John Fleming, Blake Miguez. Who else? The PSC. I don't know about him. I just don't know. Dr. Sammy White. All of them are better than what we have now. And that's no offense to the incumbent. I'm just telling you, the votes, the culture, it just doesn't replicate a majority of Louisiana citizens. It just doesn't. To include Democrats, I'm saying us as a whole. Our people are collectively very conservative. Very. If only our politicians, when they transition from campaign conservative to governing conservative, they don't get that. It's like they miss that lesson. Not all. Not all. There are some good examples out there. All right, who we going to? Mr. Bobby. What's up, Mr. Bobby?
I tell you what, if I was a congressman, I sure wouldn't pass no law that I'd have to take a drug test. No, yeah, I'd be out of a job anyway. Yeah, here's the deal. Here's a small town talk. What's her name? Let Low.
Yes, sir.
Let small town talk says that she helped Trump the Supreme Court nominees. Check it out.
Oh, there's no doubt that she's a friend of the administration. She's a friend of the elite. She's a friend of the establishment. She is an insider without a doubt. But that doesn't. Thanks, Mr. Bobby. I appreciate you. That doesn't make her a bad person. Doesn't make her a bad candidate either. And it makes her a different type of candidate that's in the race right now. So if she's elected, hey, she's in very good graces with the Speaker of the House. She's in very good graces with the Republican majority, the majority leader, House majority leader. She's probably and she is in good connections with the White House. I mean, the guy came out and endorsed her before she announced. So, but it is a different, that's a whole other thing we can talk about. But there is a difference. So let's stay on the phone lines. Let's see here. Caller, you're live on the Josh Guillory Show. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Josh.
What's up?
How are you?
I'm good. I am good. What you got today?
Well, I think what's really makes this president so popular and what I like about him, he's not a super hardcore conservative type. To me, is a very unpleasant way to live, okay? I noticed the St. Landry Parish people wanted to bring back the cockfighting. And
is that true?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
All right. Okay. Didn't know
now,
that.
Our Goody Two Shoes gang, Liz Merle and them, they're not going to allow any of that. They got up there and said, no. Okay. Well, we probably couldn't get it through the legislature to repeal it. But our citizens the citizens of St. Landry Parish, if every time they were called up for jury duty, for grand jury, or for the jury trial, not guilty, not guilty, not guilty. Okay, this shouldn't be the jury trial should not be a rubber stamp that incarcerates somebody. People need to stand up for. If they don't like these laws, they're bad laws. They need to find people not guilty.
All right. Hey, thank you. I appreciate you. All right, let's see here. I didn't expect that call. All right, caller, you're live on the Josh Guillory Show. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Mark from Lafayette.
What's up, Mark? Thanks for calling in, buddy.
Hey. You know, I feel like Bill Cassidy's kind of taking the path of most resistant. What he needs to do is declare himself a Democrat. He would raise, he'd probably have $30 million in his war chest. He'd get all the cuckoos in all of our big cities to vote for him, and he would coast to victory, especially in a low turnout election. He would get so much exposure and money from the Democrats. Say that he's going to convict Trump if the Democrats take back the Senate. Just go full-blown cuckoo, and he would win.
So you're saying take the Republican veil and just go ahead and burn it and be who you are. And you're saying politically there's enough votes in the big cities for turnout in a low turnout. Oh, hey. But I'll tell you this. I wouldn't discredit that theory. All right, Senator Cassidy.
Anti-Trumpers are very fervent. They will come out and vote. All the cat ladies will line up to vote against him.
No offense. Hey, shout out to our cat ladies. Thank you, brother. Big Chris, we're going to come to you, baby. I have to take a break. When we get back, we will be right back. I'm going to eat some leftover Dinos. All right. Hey, what's up, Rumble? Rumble.com. Man, so much stuff. Kill Switch, I see you. And you're right. Straight up OG. Let's see. Kill Switch says cocktail fighting. Yes, I get it. Cocktail fighting. Okay. They need to leave all that at rest stops. That was pretty good. Question 8. I'm not understanding the caller. I'm with you. He kind of went from one angle to a totally. Q was about ready to dump him, but but he made his point. His point was, if you're called to jury duty and it's a crime that you don't believe in, his theory is to not convict. I will say that it doesn't really happen that way. The judge gives pretty good instructions during a jury, and I mean, I guess internally it doesn't really matter. I mean, if that's your belief, that's your belief. So I think that was his. That's my take from his call, and the only reason why I let it keep going because he started to make a point. But I'm from the beginning part. He's definitely a pro cockfighter.
Yeah, and look, I'm from St. Landry Parish.
I was looking at you the whole time.
I was trying to figure out how to respectfully say I categorically disagree.
Yeah.
I think, look, I'm from there. My family's from there. We've been raised there. Just because something is a tradition doesn't mean it should continue.
You ever went to one?
Nope. I can say that absolutely. Nope.
I'm just going to say when I was a little boy, I probably was in places I shouldn't have been. But I agree with you. I think there's some scripture on that. When I was a child, I acted like a child. And when I was a grown-up, I'm paraphrasing, when I'm a grown-up, I act like a grown. But there are people that still believe in that, and I just think, I agree with you. I just, we learn, and needless pain on any creation of God is not cool.
I think it's cruel.
Yeah.
For nothing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not for nothing. Tens of thousands of dollars to bet on
this. Kill Switch ain't wrong, by the way. What's next? Dog fighting? It's a gateway.
Exactly.
And it is. If you let roosters do it, then dog. That people still do that. So it's like, come on. And then what's next? The poor giraffes.
They're actually really violent.
Are they really?
They beat each other
extensively
with their necks. It is crazy to watch.
I haven't been to the zoo in a while. My kids, I used to take them all the time, but they were always friendly. And if you ever look at the shed that they sleep in, it's so interesting because it's right where they can walk in. It's so cool. All right, guys, stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show, broadcasting live from the KPEL studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Hey, man, shout out to my friends over there at Kishbaugh Construction, man. Keith Kishbaugh, appreciate you, brother. Thanks for what you do for our community as well. All right, we were talking about the U.S. Senate race, but I got to get some wisdom. I got to get some wisdom from a wise caller. Let me see it. Big Chris. What's up, Big Chris in the hizzy for shizzy? What's up?
Well, I'll tell you what, Miss Letlow, I don't know any of them really well. One of your callers said one of them's kind of old, and it seems like Mike Johnson kind of likes Letlow. What we need is a team that's going to work together. We don't need fighting with each other like Cassidy did from the get-go. So if she wants to get in and win, hey, that's good with me. And, she seems to be a fresh face, So now, one other thing, on that last caller with the cockfighting.
Yes.
I know that's out of the blue, but let me tell you something.
Talk to me.
They say that, it's cruel. It's cruel. What is more cruel? These chickens don't fight till they're a year old or 2 years old. The hens never fight. They live out their life till they die of natural causes. The chickens you eat at Popeyes, if they make 8 weeks, they're lucky. Usually it's, and I've been to these chicken farms. They put thousands in the chicken farm. They about 5 to 10% die of disease and crowdedness and whatever, unhealthy conditions, and they cannot live past 6 weeks. Some of them kill at 4 weeks.
Wow.
And they're genetically altered. What's more cruel? You tell me. What's more cruel? And if a rooster wins a couple of times, they usually put him as a brood cock, which he gets to breed the rest of his life, and they treat these chickens very well. So what is more cruel? That's my question.
Well, Big Chris, I bet you just gave some thoughts that folks didn't know. So there you go. I will say this, man, the cruelty to the fast food industry type folks that not trying to knock on anybody, but the chickens, man, I heard that too. And that's horrible if that's the case. I grew up in South Louisiana just like you. I grew up all over the place, kind of. First 6 years of my life, I was in the country mixed with a trailer park, So, but I will say, and especially maybe to some of our older audience that grew up in the rural areas of this great state, hey, that was part of the culture. And I'm just saying, all right? Now, I don't support it. I don't like it. And that's me. If it was up to me, they'd all be grass-fed, roaming freely. But that's easy for me to say in a chair right here. So easy. So easy. But that is some good things to think about, though. And I'm glad that both callers called in now and discussed that, because at least it got us some thoughts. But yeah, I don't support it. That's just me. That's just me, but I ain't mad at you, if you have different thoughts. It's America. So let's go back to this other, can we call this a rooster fighting? The U.S. Senate? I wasn't going to call it the other thing. Can we call this rooster fighting? Because this is what it sounds like. It's silly. Hey, by the way, Big Chris's point about Julia Letlow, I agree with that too. That's what I'm saying. If Julia Letlow wins, hey man, I'm high-fiving. I'm happy. I'm thankful. I didn't get to work with her a lot when I was in office. A handful of times I met her. Always nice, seemed to be a good team player. Genuine, you can tell when someone's fluffing you. But genuine team player, because even though her district didn't cover Lafayette, she covers the state. It's representative of the state, just represents that district. So you want your folks, you want to work with everybody on the team. And she was with the times I did, always easy. And never gave me the vibe of a rhino. And she may be now, but she is very much an establishment Republican. Okay. That's the game. That's the game. That's the battlefield. It's a stupid battlefield. It should be term limits. And the president should have line item veto. Most of our problems go away if you do those two things. But, the story right here, I'm going to carry this into hour number 2. I have to. Man, this is so much. So the story here is State Representative Julie Emerson announces just a few weeks ago, and then that's what it feels like, and then drops out after Julia Letlow enters the race, Trump's endorsement, things like that, says she no longer has a path. She saw a path and threw her support behind Letlow. That's the official explanation, Quentin.
It sounds super clean and sterile.
Boy, does it, huh? Give me my COVID mask back. The one that's very sterile that they told us to use over and 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 over again. Follow the science.
I just remember trying to find one that didn't make my face feel like I was walking into a humidification system.
No joke.
I hated them.
Everybody with glasses that's when I switched to contacts. Anywho, so that's the official explanation, but there are some people still asking those 2 questions I asked earlier in the week. Why her? Well, actually, I don't hear anybody, but I think people should. Why Julia Letlow, and why Julia Letlow right now when you have solid conservative candidates in the race that have already built the ground game? And in the break with Rumble, Quentin was adequately explaining how much of a morale killer that this whole thing was to some hardcore conservatives that really are good team players. All right, guys, stick around. When we get back, man, we're going to carry this story over to hour number 2, and I can't wait. Don't go anywhere.